I'm going to teach you 3 things in this guide: how to get aiming XP, how to aim, and problems to avoid. I also recommend you read through the post on it by Limmy. Too long don't read of it is that the aiming system currently has known flaws and bugs that will be fixed later, which means any bugs I point out in the video will likely be fixed soon enough. First up, how do we min-max our aiming XP gain? Start with some aiming skill. Not only will you have a much higher chance to hit your shots due to having a higher skill level, starting with it will give you an experience gain boost in that skill. I'll show it later. Either start as a police officer, veteran, or buy the hunter trait with trait points. These are the current ways to start with aiming skill. Step 2. Read the book. In Build 42, aiming, reloading, and longblade have skill books you can read to boost your experience gain. Yes, they are rare, but it's worth your time, particularly after level 5 aiming when the experience gain reduction sets in. This only applies to aiming and reloading as far as I know. Step 3. Shoot a zombie from near point blank with a shotgun. Yes, shotguns are still the best for this in Build 42. Here I am with no boosts, and I got 6.08 XP from a single shot. The next shot brings me to 10.8, and the third, 16.2. At this rate, I'll likely hit level 1 aiming in 15 shots. It is very important to either be near point blank to a single zombie, or hit several zombies with a single shot. I got 1.35 XP by shooting one at a distance. Hitting multiple zombies with one shot is inconsistent, so I recommend the point blank method. Every other weapon I tested gains 0.68 XP per hit. The shotgun is still the king of leveling aiming. You simply need to use it in a new way. Now I'll do it again, but I've started with Hunter for the experience gain boost. Over 20 XP per shot, and I haven't read the book yet. With the book, it's 28 XP. I could easily hit level 2 aiming in 6 shots. Finally, with the same boost at level 5 aiming, 9 XP. The next shot with the book takes me to 45 XP. Why? Because the book for 5 to 6 aiming grants you a ×4 multiplier. The books are very important once you reach level 5 aiming and above due to the reduction in XP gain. Alright, now I get to teach you how to aim in this new system. The first thing you should do is adjust your aiming reticle settings. These are the settings I recommend so that you can actually see what's happening. Checkmark use aim texture. Change your reticle mode from hit chance to penalty so that you can see when you are suffering from penalties. Reticle texture to 4 and the valid target reticle texture to 3. Finally, checkmark the reticle camera zoom. This makes the reticle get larger when zoomed in. I think it's supposed to be the other way around, but it makes the reticle large enough that I can easily see my hit chance going from red to green as it improves. Now I can see my hit chance and see when I have any extra aiming penalties separately rather than both reflecting my hit chance. There's 2 ways to aim at a zombie. You can mouse over the zombie with your reticle. When it changes from white to a color, you are officially aiming at the zombie. Yes, you can aim at the zombie's feet and shoot it. It's rather forgiving when it works. This works because standing zombies have no specific damage zones as stated by Limmy in his post. As long as the reticle is colored instead of white, you have a chance to hit. Since you don't have to aim at a specific point yet, you do full damage. The second way is lining up your gun with the zombie. Even though my reticle is pointing at the ground, I am officially aiming at the zombie when it turns red and can shoot it. Here it is again with a line to aid your vision. The gun is pointing at the zombie even though my reticle isn't lined up. This kind of aiming is difficult due to the perspective. All of the usual Moodles reduce your chance to hit a zombie. In Build 42, this has been extended to darkness and weather. Yes, even the wind is supposed to mess with your aim. Based on a bit of testing, I believe the damage reduction for wounds on your arm has been removed. This is the same for the rest of the Moodles that reduce melee damage. As of this morning, Build 42.02 came out with significant accuracy buffs, cutting the penalty from Moodles in half. The frequent jams have also been touched up. The change to extend the point blank range is kinda massive. We pretty much went from less than 50% chance to hit at 0 aiming to well over 50% when inside that range. It's 3.5 tiles now, although it feels better just under 3 tiles. Here's what that looks like. To maximize your hit chance, you will want to have as few Moodles as possible on a clear day with no wind. Stand stationary and give a moment for the crosshair to settle before shooting. Don't forget that there are upgrades like the laser sight that will improve your accuracy. If you have 0 aiming skill, you are going to miss a lot. The shotgun is better, but it will occasionally miss. The boost of going up to the first level aiming feels much better, and it only goes up from there. By the way, since fences block vision when you are crouched, and you count as crouched even if you start aiming, you can take all the time in the world to line your shots up. Just don't try this with a car as you'll shoot it up instead. From here on out, I'll be explaining issues with the aiming system that you will want to avoid. This is the new aim cone for guns. It's 2 rectangles that represent a cube. If the zombie is inside the cube and your reticle is over it, you are aiming at the zombie. Well, most of the time. Those who watch my ground aiming video might see an old friend who will be relevant later. There are angles that your reticle can be over the zombie, but it is not inside the cube. As long as you aim at the torso or head, this will not be an issue with normal guns. The shotgun, on the other hand, does not appear to have mouse over aiming. There are angles where your reticle can be over the zombie's head and it still refuses to aim at them. It's particularly annoying when you get this flickering effect, as any shots taken during the white part of the flicker are not aimed and will miss. It seems you can only aim the shotgun by lining it up in the game world with the zombie. Yes, I checked every single gun and it's only the shotguns that have this issue. Now we get to the point blank problem. In most shooters, they cheat where the bullets come from to avoid dealing with parallax. In Project Zomboid, since the bullets are coming from the tip of the barrel and the game is isometric, it can be hard to tell when the zombie is too close to actually shoot it from some angles. This is particularly bad if you actually follow the zombie's head with your reticle from certain angles, as your character still aims based on the melee isometric cursor and faces away from the zombie. Luckily, the aiming cube covers this by being so wide. What the aiming cube doesn't cover is zombies on the ground. The problem comes from the aim point. In this clip, it's trying to shoot the zombie's feet, which are too close to aim at. Then, because the isometric cursor aim point being below the reticle, the side angles have you facing the wrong direction. This is why you cannot shoot a zombie you are standing on. It's stuck aiming at the part closest to your feet instead of the parts it can actually hit. In order to shoot a zombie on the ground, you have to back up until the closest part of it is farther than the tip of your barrel. This applies to standing zombies as well. Watch as the reticle lights up when the targeted part of the zombie turns green. I have two suggestions for the developers here. The first is to have the manual floor attack key force the ground aiming animation. Right now you can press the key, but until the part of the zombie that is being aimed at is within range, it doesn't use the ground targeting animation. This animation does bring the tip of the gun closer to the player, so it would alleviate some issues with targeting ground zombies if you had real control over it. I'd also recommend the devs cheat like most others and have bullets spawn a bit inside the gun rather than the end of the barrel, at least until they can get an accurate IK simulation in or such, as the current animations are not detailed enough to sustain such a realistic goal. These issues have already been acknowledged and slated to be fixed after the holidays. After all of this, I don't recommend guns until they get some more patches out. Don't get me wrong, once you figure out the limitations, you can have a grand time blasting the zombies. Quickly level your aiming to 5 or higher, and start clearing infected the American way. Just expect to have your immersion broken every once in a while when you magically can't aim at a zombie. Finally, this will be the zone of theories. Things that should not be taken too seriously because at the end of the day, they don't matter. I've seen people claiming that turning off the camera pan improves their accuracy. I don't think the pan is messing with the math as they appear to believe. What I do know is that once your camera starts panning, it never really stops moving, which means your aim point is also constantly moving. Whether it's through a penalty that doesn't appear to be reflected in the UI, or through generally moving your aim around, it would be harder to hit your target, particularly with a shotgun since their aiming is so finicky right now. If you go up a floor, the aim cube completely breaks. This is true? The visual part of the aim cube breaking is true. I'm still able to shoot zombies, which leads me to believe it's still functioning and not completely broken. It may be a visual glitch. That being said, if you're struggling to shoot zombies upstairs, you may want to lead them down to the ground floor. Trying to shoot down at zombies below you is very hit or miss. It just doesn't work at certain angles.